Right, so for the lighting part of this tutorial, I'll be using mainly quad lights and like ramps, Arnold ramps. Let's organize the scene, so add this to a new layer and call it materials, because we will have like lots of ramps right here, so I don't want to merge them or get confused, so okay. First thing is that you don't really need like high samples. Something like 2 would do super great, because we would mainly be lighting no details or anything. Okay, so actually I do have a lighting from before. This one I used it for the purpose of testing with Arnold, so I'm going to get rid of it and start from scratch. So we had this HRI at first. This one is crap. We only needed it for texturing, so take this one off and Arnold quad light. First thing you want to do is remove the normalize. Take this page up. And here it is, okay. So right now what you're going to do is play with the lights until you have something that looks very good. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, we'll need a target, so just say null, which is useful. And we can use animation tags and target. Okay, so now you can just move it around and play with it. Let's see, we don't want it to be small, so actually for this one I'm going to enable normalize, because I don't need my light to be too far away. So right now I won't be starting from the front, but rather start with the back. And the highlights, which would make the render look great. Okay. So if you're planning to put this render in a white background, I would personally recommend to have a background that would be white. I'm not sure if this works, but it should. I mean, this object, I'm not sure if it works. Okay, apparently it works. And it won't affect our lighting or anything, so it will just be used as a guide for our eyes. Because if you want to texture something that you would put on white background, but you're actually lighting and texturing on black background, you would have a lot of problems later. Okay, so this is our first light. Now just hold Control and drag to duplicate. And right now I'm going to go for the Apple look. So they have this mysterious, sort of mysterious lighting. Or maybe I'm not sure if I'm going to do the Apple style. Anyways, how I think about my lighting actually is that, well, I don't have any rules, first thing, and that I simply do my lighting based on what I think looks good. So if a light looks bad, I simply get rid of it. Simple as that. Okay, so now we can just Control drag again, and don't let a lot of black areas right here and there, because that would make it look bad. But also don't do this. Don't do this. Never ever do this. This would flatten everything. So the most important light in this scenario is the backlight, this one, and I'm going to call it back. Okay, this is looking good so far. Let's turn off all the lights and see what this one is doing. What I actually want to have is like a fading effect, a gradient from top to bottom. And let's see how we can do this. So name this one background. Oops. Alt W then N to create new material, and only apply a ramp. You can apply the ramp like by dragging it here, and this would work. Okay. I want to see how it's working. Closely see. Okay. So far it's looking good, but in this area it's looking weird. And let's fix it. Nope, I like how it's affecting this part, so I'll just let it the way it is. And actually add another light. Yeah, I guess this one is messing up. So the goal is to light the scene without giving it like weird shapes. Light shapes, sorry. Nope, this is flattening too much. Maybe add another light to give that contrast. Okay, so let's get into faking. So what I'm going to do right now isn't the best thing to do, but it fixes problems, so yeah. Okay, so you can just select your mesh and remove these parts from it, split and go back to the original delete. Okay. Right, now we're going to exclude this object from the light. So here's our light. Go into project and exclude this. Perfect. If it looks good for you, you can leave it that way, but we prefer this, and then I can control this part by myself. So what I would do is duplicate this one and take it around here. Actually only include the metallic part. We can't see what it's doing, so get rid of the others and start playing again. If this one bothers you, you can simply remove it. Okay, so this part looks fine to me. Maybe later add another light right here or from the bottom, but we need to fix this part right now, so something like this, but enable the soft edge and reduce lighting. The more you play with it, the lighting, textures and everything, the best your result would be. So for this render I'm going for a purely white look with some gray in the metals, but even the gray I'm going to try to make it even more white and see. Even more white, sorry, okay. This one will be called bottom. And boom. And it looks like crap, okay. The bottom you don't want too much light, you just want to give it like a glance of light, just small presence, but not too present either, if that makes sense. As you can see right here, this is pod ring, so we're going to remove it and zero out everything. 0, 0, 0, and the rotation. Okay, take this one 90 degrees, move it down. Great, this is looking good. So let's try a test render. Increase these to 5 and save. This is looking great, but we would still need to do some post-processing. Okay. Okay, let's do some passes and jump into post-processing and see what we can improve. So for the Aovs, I would take I don't usually use them too often, but I'll show you how you can use them. diffuse direct, indirect, specular, direct and indirect, and we don't have any transmission or anything, so these two should be good. If you ever want to add depth of field or whatever, you export this one. The Z depth pass. Alright, this should be good, and now we can see if we have our alpha ready. It's not ready because we have the background. Just remove it. Yep. This will help us to cut our object from the background and do our correct processing. Okay. So until now we're good, and let's see for the diffuse. The specular, diffuse direct, indirect, specular direct, and we have our specular indirect too. So let's clean up a little these. Diffuse direct is looking good, however diffuse indirect isn't. So the diffuse samples here are responsible for the diffuse indirect. Basically increasing them will increase render time, but we also clean up this. So this is clean. Let's see about the specular. And this is looking good so far. Let's see about the specular indirect. Yeah, we need some samples. Okay, this should be good, and for the sake of super clean renders, I just increased this to 4. Don't do this, you're not obliged, just me. Last quick tip I'm going to give you is filters. Now we can use them. So with the compression of the video in YouTube and everything, I'm not sure you can see it, but I'm going to show you anyways. Basically, Arnold uses filters just like any render engine, I guess. And these filters have different results in the render you're going to make. So the Gaussian filter will give us this. As of the filter I like to use most of the time, which is the black man or the box, would give us different results. Let it finish and you're gonna see. Okay, so basically the Gaussian filter wants you to have like to blur some parts little, but the black areas we just sharpen them as good as possible. I'm not sure if you can see, but maybe if I zoom in you can see some pixel change. And that pixel change is in the sharpness of the image. So without the compression of YouTube I can see it clearly from here that the second one is better, the Black Man Harris filter. Okay. For this render I'm going to keep it as the Black Man Harris. If you want to go with Gaussian, you're free. And yeah, okay. Let's render this thing to 4K and we see how it goes. basically needed to be open EXR 32 bits per channel, same for the passes. And then now we can render our scene. Oops. Forgot to put it 4K. Okay, so it's rendering. I'm going to let it finish and see you in the post-processing part. Thank you for your time. Peace.